We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on the Miami Dolphins defense versus the Patriots, starting with them this week because they really earned it after bouncing back after a tough week one. Really love what I saw from the run defense improvement with the technique up front. Uh, Linebackers just fitting into the run game. Everything looked so much better versus the run, versus the pass. Pretty solid overall. A lot of just quick dump offs underneath for the Patriots. Very quick passing game. Didn't really threaten them deep the entire game, which was nice to see. Only a couple weak links like Eli Apple, but I feel like individual standouts were all over the defense. It was really nice to see. Love the play from, I feel like Sealer and Wilkins looked like their dominant self. Andrew Van Ginkel and Bradley Chubb made huge plays in this one. Thank God AVG's back at his natural spot. But as you can see up front, it's just the instant penetration on this first play right here that I'm going to break down from Sealer. Just getting to the inside, beating Strange, and everyone else rallies the ball. Love the effort everyone played with. Sealer knifing to the inside. For his size, he moves so quickly. Boom, rip underneath, just instantly penetration, and then long Chubb. Even Apple, rallying to the ball there, everyone getting involved. It's nice to see. Just really liked what I saw. It allowed it having AVG play edge, and then it allowed Long to be as that off-ball linebacker. Yes, he can be aggressive and maybe miss a gap here and there, and Fangio doesn't like that, but he's definitely our best run defending linebacker. Overall, he just makes plays, gets involved, and then people in the secondary other than Apple, I think played pretty well, like Kohu, Holland, Howard. Wouldn't mind seeing Cam Smith. Now, Apple did have a couple good plays that I'll break down, but for the most part, there was too many bad ones for sure. But really liked what the effort I saw. And from this team, it was a good team win. They started 2-0 on a road versus two pretty solid teams. You definitely take that. And there's things they can work on, some little things, but they're all fixable. Then the next play, 2nd and 12. Dolphins bring a man blitz. They rotate into a cover one here. Bring Long. Nice blitzing early on from Fangio. Definitely adjusted. Saw that this team is really effective when they blitz. I know he likes to be a little more picky with it, but in this game, he definitely brought it. Jones is a little interesting. If he doesn't see the blitz pre-snap, he's just going to go down. He gets pretty panicky versus the blitz. He doesn't want to get hit. But if he does see it pre-snap, he usually gets the ball out pretty quickly. But here, just not able to see it. Everyone else does a pretty good job on the back end getting matched up in cover one, and then Long gets a free lane right here. Sealer lined up as the two up head with the guard, takes that first initial step into that A gap, and he just doesn't see him coming, so they double here. Everything else is one-on-one. Chubb is wide to this side, so it just gives Long this free lane, and Long Chubb meet at the quarterback there. Very good job, really just stopping these drives with good play calls. Love the work that I saw out of Fangio's scheme this week and how everyone executed it. The improvement versus the run, just technique-wise and just run fills, understanding your responsibility from everyone up front pretty much was so much better this week. The improvement was great. You could tell they took it to heart. You can see, look at Chubb here. He knifes to the inside, and if he's going to knife to the inside like that, Baker has to be able to scrape over the top, and then Wilkins working down the line. This is exactly what you want to see right here. This is great work. Chubb has a little bit of free reign. He's usually, going to be the force guy edge this, but he feels this space open up to the inside, 59 getting a little over the top. So Chubb knifes to the inside, which forces Zeke to change up his aiming point to the outside. So Baker sees this. He's staying square and patient. This is a good rep by Jerome. He scrapes to the outside, is forcing Elliott to cut back inside, and then Wilkins in pursuit, showing some great hustle to get down the line and make this tackle. You get him blocked as a 3-tech. He's not going to get cut off by that guy right there. Really effective play. Everyone up front doing their job very, very well. 3rd and 8, Dolphins bring more pressure. So Mac Jones sees it this time, is a little panicky, but he gets the ball out, and it's just the Bradley Chubb hustle play. Amazing hustle, and then good work by Elliott. I think Deshaun Elliott, I think in the first game he missed a couple tackles, which I like to see him, be a little better there, but he looked pretty good in coverage. This game, he looked solid again. I've liked what I've seen out of him as a second safety. This is a good job. They're bringing pressure to this side, and Chubb is just sort of reading this. I think, he's in charge in case someone escapes the pocket here, and the ball comes out quickly, and he just sees this great hustle play to get down the field and swipe for the ball. That's awareness, effort, competitive toughness. Play that ball. You see that situation, and good job by the defense rallying to this, because Stevenson had a chance to recover this, I believe. It's actually a good hustle play by 38 to get down, but they all fight for it, and Elliott comes out on top. That was a huge play in this game for the defense. Really good play by Van Ginkel and Kohu. It just feels like whenever they try to throw the quick, screens or, swing passes like this, Van Ginkel and Kohu were all over it. They're kind of those guys that have always stopped. In the past, they did this in the past season. They just recognize these plays really well. Van Ginkel can play maybe a little. When Phillips comes back, I'm sure Van Ginkel will go back to playing some off ball, and I'm fine with him playing off ball in certain situations. But most part, he needs to be on the edge near the line of scrimmage, coming downhill. Kohu and him just read this. I'm gonna do a Van Ginkel video later in the week to really break down all of his plays, get a real deep dive on him because he just looked extra good. I think he played the best game of his career, so we'll look out for that. So I'm not gonna break down all of his plays in this one, like all the impactful ones, but you'll see some of them for sure, and that's just a really heads-up play by Van Ginkel to recognize this, and Kohu would have been there too, beating his block as he usually does versus the screen. Then 3rd and 10, the very next play, Dolphins bring 5. They match up. They're like bracketing that receiver. They're playing over the top on the backside to help, and Van Ginkel gets downhill. He actually gets chipped here near the line of scrimmage by 85, I believe, and he's still able to get this pressure. You can see he was so good with his hands, and Van Ginkel tested as like an elite athlete off the charts. You can see the work that they're doing this like this. I like how they set this up too. Like Sealer would have gotten there as well. I love the twists and stunts that they've been doing. I like how they put Van Ginkel and Chubb to the same side. Put these guys in some mayhem, and Chubb breaks down, get into this 71-60, really takes away 2 guys, Sealer coming through, and then Van Ginkel just absolutely destroys his man. Good hand placement, get that left hand to the back of the elbow. You just want to be that outside hand if you're going to get there. Jumps over the top. You can see the fluidity, the bend in his lower half, and even though he tested like the elite of the elite athlete, I feel like sometimes, he wouldn't always show, like he would always look like a really good athlete on the field. He never would look like super elite. Like in this game, he looked as explosive as I've ever seen him as a true edge rusher. Like he was in his bag in this one. Just stopping the run. Even like, look at Holland here. Rotating down into the box, Dolphins rotating into a cover 3, so Holland gets to rotate down there, getting Holland near the box, getting him involved. He made multiple big plays in the run game. Holland looked really good. He's such a big part of this defense, like probably the biggest part, I think, on both sides, because he makes probably the biggest impact versus the pass in the running game for like that combination, and everyone else just up front doing their job. Everyone getting control. I thought, Wilkins doing a good job. Raekwon had a bounce back game. I thought he struggled a lot last week, and he looked solid here at the point of attack. Holland coming into Phil. Like everyone just like gets control of this. Everyone else tries to shoot up. It gets a little muddied here, and Holland comes down, beats Gesicki, doesn't allow him to block him, and only limits that to a 1-yard gain on a 2nd and 2. Dolphins in a cover 3. Here's one of just Eli Apple's, misses. He does a good job actually here, coming down. He just misses the tackle. That's his biggest weakness. He had a couple, penalties in this game. He actually made a couple plays on verticals throws to him where he made forced incompletions. So I think he did a good job on verticals. And he's not like terrible in coverage. It's just dumb mistakes and missed tackles. Like he will miss those tackles. Wouldn't mind seeing Cam Smith. Like he breaks on this pretty well. Like he's cover 3. He's sitting on this. He reads this, the leverage of it. He makes a good read. Would have if he made this tackle limit to a 5-yard gain, that's not too bad from his pre-snap alignment in a cover 3. Everyone else is just matched up. Dolphins will do that a lot. There's guys on a vertical plane. They're just gonna match up number 2, number 1. Just got to be a better tackler. Dolphins do respond though on this drive, able to stop him in these next 2 plays, hold him to a field goal attempt. Really good, dominant rep here by Raekwon Davis. Everyone else does their job up front too. You can just see everyone fill this, but Raekwon, feel the leverage of that center, throw him to the side. Also, I believe Baker does a really good job scraping over the top, but just look at Raekwon here. Feel the leverage of this center, use his own momentum against him, club, swim move, and then also get the feel to the guard too. Maintain control of your gap. Get your hand inside of that chest. Now control. Baker scrapes over the top when the edge, squeezes down, and they all meet there. 1-yard loss, and then the very next play, they get a nice little pass deflection, as you'll see. Hey, if you didn't see that pass deflection from Deshaun Elliott, it's because the All-22 wasn't working, and I was not able to record it. Like, for some reason, that play specifically wouldn't play. So, if that's not shown, it's just a really nice read from Elliott. I believe in quarters. I can't remember off the top of my head, but because the play wouldn't play when I tried to watch it right now. So if it's not able to be in this video, that's why. But Eli Apple at the top of the screen, just missing a tackle again. He puts himself in the right position and just can't finish. That's the problem. Like Dolphins, like this defense, honestly, if it had Jalen Ramsey, wow, like it could really be special. Like because he's probably the most important player with his versatility. Like him and Holland would be such big pieces in that secondary. And like Howard played really good in this game. Apple just needs to finish these tackles. This is 2nd and 1, and just remember this play because they get the big stop right after this. This is Holland back-to-back versus the run. helping on these plays here. Also, some other guys getting involved. Everyone's just doing their job up front, their responsibilities. See this gap open up, beat the receiver, force him into Chubb. Chubb does a good job. Even Eli Apple gets in there to help as well. David Long gets involved, scraping over the top too. These are just good football plays. You see Long going to be in charge of that A gap, but once he sees Stevenson clearing, he's reading through all this trash, scrape over the top. Now Long and Holler are both filling in this with Chubb squeezing down to beat the tight end. Everyone else holding this to a stop, and it just was a huge impact on this game. Because in the next play, they try to do a toss on 3rd and 1. I don't know why. This is the only situation where they probably wouldn't go for it on 4th and 1. They should just ran 2 QB sneaks. But they take advantage of this. Just look where Holland's lined up. He's prepared for this. He's going to see this open up. He's just reading through to the backfield. He sees them adjust them audible, and he's ready for this. He sees the flow of the offensive lineman, and boom, he just shoots down. 76 just ignores him. He's a safety. He's not worried about him, but just into the backfield. That is a highly instinctive play, making these plays at the point of attack. Everyone else does a good job as well. Even Deshaun Hand blowing this up. They all reset the line of scrimmage, so there's no cutback lane instantly to hit. They try to bounce this to the outside. Everyone else is already trying to get there. Holland takes a perfect angle, so he can't. Everyone else flowing to the ball. So if this was, if Holland even missed this, everyone else is there to make a play, but he gets there in the backfield, forces the punt. And just so many situations where they made big plays. This game, honestly, should not have been as close as it was. There was just a few mistakes the Dolphins made. Also, some things that were out of their control, like the refs with some bad calls on both sides of the ball, or non-calls that could have easily extended this one. You'll see most of those in the offense, and probably some in this one too. But just a huge play there from Javon. Dolphins, on this 1st and 10 right here, this is just a really good coverage by Javon down in the slot on Kendrick Bourne. You can see just everything that he brings. He can play match. Dolphins are in match cover 3 here. They're in their nickel whip package where they bring pressure, which is I'll show you exactly what that is. You can see how Chubb to the strength, because they're in 3x2. Chubb to the strength here ends up dropping and just being an extra hook defender. He's that bonus hook. And then they bring the linebacker Long on a blitz forward to this side. Ends up getting blocked up pretty well, but they're just matched up. Number 2s are just reading, number 2, or yeah, they're reading the number 2, but they're matching it. They're the seam flat, but they're just matching number 2. Corners on the outside are matching number 1 unless they break underneath, then they'll make an undercall and stay over the top. But they just work vertically. They all sit on top. Javon in perfect position. Bourne almost makes an insane catch. Only gets 1 foot in bounds, but Holland forcing that to the sideline. Another big-time play from him. Then the Howard interception later in this drive. This is just textbook coverage. Dolphins in match cover 3 again. Howard, though, just at the bottom, focused on him, is basically just a man-to-man. He's just man everywhere he goes, even though it's cover 3. And he just owns Devontae Parker and Mac Jones. He's owned this matchup his entire career whenever he's faced off. Even last season when he was struggling, he still owned this matchup. Squeezing to the sideline, using that sideline to your advantage, and then great ball skills. He's always going to have that. He's always going to be a guy that can create interceptions, gets physical off the line. He stays square. He stays patient. He's trying to maintain that outside leverage. Parker tries to release outside. He knows that's what he's mostly going to do, and then he makes a great play, great awareness too, to keep your both feet in bounds from where you are. And Parker's PIing him. He's grabbing him, holding him up, and he still makes an excellent play. Offense in cover 3 again. They actually ran cover 3 a decent amount in this, which I liked. They clearly did what I said with what I thought they were going to do when I was they brought down an extra guy into the box a lot of the game. They still went cover 6 and obvious passing situations, but on early downs they ran a lot of cover 3. This is good work from Wilkins here up front, just dominating his rep. I thought Wilkins looked very back to form too, and getting involved in some pressures. When he got one-on-one, was able to truly pass rush. This is why I was saying, though people are saying Wilkins doesn't get sacks. In that old defense, he didn't really get to rush like this, where he got one-on-ones. He would have to stay in his rush lane and just, push this guy back into the quarterback. He's not allowed to try to beat him around the edge, show off his athleticism. This is just good hand placement. Hit that club, rip underneath, just get to that back of that elbow with your hand there. Now you're getting there, and you can see the bend. He's such a freak athlete for a guy of his size to finish. Also, Van Ginkel getting there again. Can't wait to show all the plays that he was making, because he made a lot of them, and I've only shown a couple so far. But really good game from that whole defensive front. Then they try to go screen again. Van Ginkel almost gets a crazy, interception. He's done this before. He ends up, making an impact on the play, getting there as well. Also just Kohu and Van Ginkel, like I'm saying, on these screens. Reading these, get downhill, beating blocks, making the tackles. That's what they do. They bring so much value to this team in those situations. And they're also just good players in other situations too. But on those ones, they're super instinctive, athletic, and great. Two of the better tacklers, I think, on the team. And that's the type of impact that they bring consistently every single game. Dolphins go cover 6 here on a 3rd and 15. Unfortunately, Jones is able to escape the pocket, get outside of it. Just can't let this happen to a quarterback like Mac Jones. Like, Mac Jones is like they cover everything up on the back end here pretty well. Like, if you can see, they're basically bracketing here. Holland does a good job, or he matches there. Holland does a good job staying over the top, not squeezing to help there. This deep half corner is going to take away this, but he starts to escape the pocket, and just got to see, linebackers getting there a little bit faster. I think Baker was a little hesitant too to break downhill. He tried to stay in coverage a little too long. Van Ginkel probably has to, Van Ginkel tries to throw a spin move here, and he ends up, throwing a good move, but he's got to contain his edge as well. Gets thrown back around, he hits like a double spin, the athleticism of it, but someone's got to, get there to the edge. Just a little undisciplined play from the team, and Baker just got caught up. That, like, the problem here is once he started breaking, like, if Baker was stayed where he was just eyes on Zeke. Zeke started to break the pocket away from where Mac was, like, accidentally. Like, this is like sort of, so his eyes come off of it, and he sees it way too late. If he saw it earlier, he would have made a play, because you can see him. He's hustling to the ball. Like, he has the speed. He's a great athlete. That's where usually he makes his plays. He was just a little late to recognize and, have that impact. Dolphins get unlucky here. Like, this should have been a penalty. Multiple guys down the field, blocking down the field. It looks like they're almost running, like, zone read straight up. Like, but it looks like it's kind of designed, because, like, Henry randomly comes off his block, like, because these both, like, Gesicki's not looking, Henry's not looking. Like, there's no option here to look. Everyone's run blocking up front. That's clearly either zone read and RPO. And Jones is looking like, hey, I'm going to throw this, probably just throw it away. Henry just comes off his block, though, like, and is aware of it. But they're all blocking down the field. Even the, O-linemen, or a lot of them are, 4 yards down the field. Just one of the plays where this should not have been a touchdown. But unfortunately, like, not going to put too much blame really on the Dolphins there. Just, that was an illegal play, and this happened. There was a couple times with situations like this that just didn't get noticed. Got to give some Eli Apple some, credit on this play. Like, he got downhill and hit the receiver on this one. Like, he looks like a completely different player on this play specifically. He recognized it. It looked like he was prepared for it pre-snap to make that play. And, this is right after the interception. The defense came out really nice. Right after this play is an Andrew Van Ginkel sack. I'll show that one for sure in my Van Ginkel video. He absolutely destroys, and they get a nice little 3-and-out, which turns into a touchdown. Great seeing the defense respond after interceptions. It feels like, these last 2 weeks, there's been 2 interceptions, and the defense responded with 3-and-outs, and then the offense responded scoring, like, the next play. One of the weaknesses of, like, a cover 6 quarters defense is, them throwing this post right here if this safety gets occupied. So this inside safety, who's Holland, ends up breaking on this to the corner to Gesicki, but I think the Dolphins play this pretty well. They play this really well, actually. Holland squeezes this. Howard stays over the top and still puts himself in a great position to make this play on this deep route. And then look at Elliott as well as a deep half safety. He's leveraging both of these routes. He's not getting too far to the outside. Like, Apple at the bottom is flat, and he's trying to, disrupt the route timing here. But he puts himself in a spot where he can still get over the top if they throw this to the sideline. But then he can get to the post here too. And they throw it. Ball ends up getting thrown deep. But if it was thrown perfectly, Howard's there to make a play. Elliott's there to possibly make a play too. Just really good job distributing these routes on the back end. I've really liked what I've seen from the secondary for the most part when it comes to coverage and distributing routes and stuff. Now they need to clean up some stuff when it comes to tackling. But, this stuff has looked really good for how complicated, a Fangio defense can be at times. They've looked good in that area. Chubb makes some of the biggest plays of this game, like gets this big sack on this final drive. Dolphins, end up, like, on the back end, there was some room to work with from coverage. It looks like some miscommunication. Like, at the bottom here, it looks like they're matched up. But it looks like Howard's playing in the flat, and then the safety's playing deep half. But there's a lot of room to work with over the top. Like, both of these routes are going to come open. But Chubb wins his rep very quickly, which is very nice to see. Him just making big plays and stepping up with Jalen Phillips out. Because I feel like Phillips has been the better pass rusher, and that's a nice rep. That is good hand usage. Himself, because he does a lot of this where speed to power, he likes to use that bull rush. And once he gets engaged like he's going to do the bull rush, boom, he just uses the hands, extends enough, gets to the outside of this, just, get those hands, swipe his hands down a little bit, and then club, win to the outside, finish for the sack. That was a huge, huge play, which put them into a very long situation, and then they weren't able to convert. Dolphins out here, in quarter half, They're playing half to the bottom here. They're playing it to the nickel side, which is interesting. They're just sort of, matching up there. Number 2 is that, hook right there, match there. And then David Long is sort of squeezing this as your flat defender to, reroute number 2. And Henry creates a little separation on Long, being a linebacker by, getting a little subtle push off there. But look at Holland close on this. Boom. The number 2 underneath. This is just his natural spot right here. Playing in those quarter spots, recognize these plays, great burst, transitions downhill, and he, is able to force that incompletion at the catch point. And this play was pretty, unlucky for the Dolphins. Like, Kohu here actually makes a really good rep just matching Gesicki, and he fights this. And Gesicki is a much bigger defender, or much bigger player than Kohu, and he matches it up pretty well, closes on it, gets there at the catch point, hits the ball and knocks it out, and it would have been loose. The only reason it didn't hit the ground is because when it was coming loose out of Gesicki's hand, it stayed on top of Kohu's hand, which was super unfortunate. If it just touched the ground at all, it would have been incomplete because he did not possess the ball at that point. He just came up with it late. So Kohu kind of got unfortunate there. And then, this is the second to last play in this one. Final play of the game. Patriots come out in empty. They're basically just matched up version of cover 6, but definitely playing with man match principles. I believe that's Bethel one-on-one with Gesicki, and Gesicki creates some separation actually to the outside, but it's not a perfectly thrown ball, and then everyone else hustles to it. It ends up being short. This is very intense. Gesicki creates a separation. If this ball is thrown out in front, it's an easy first down. Gesicki comes back to a little bit, and with how, Gesicki tries to, make this guy miss back to the inside, that's not his strength of his game. That's why he's not on the team anymore, because that's what they need out of their tight ends. He does make it, first of all, this should be forward progress. Blown dead. He's getting pulled back. Forward progress, ball still not out. He's getting pulled back. Then he tosses it, and then, good play. Holland getting engaged. Van Ginkel, no one giving up on this. Everyone else get involved. Gets short of the line to gain just barely. Such a great finish to this one. Very intense. Definitely shouldn't have been as close as it was, but really liked what I saw overall from the defense that are turned around. So many great players in this one. I feel like pretty much everyone deserves some credit for this win. Probably minus Eli Apple, but but everyone else really, really improved from week 1. I feel like every other defender played better in this game, except maybe the defensive backs like Kohu and Holland. They probably played about the same because they both played really good in the first one too. But everyone else improved. Linebackers, Howard, Elliott, all the defensive line. So really, really enjoyed this one. If you guys liked the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.